What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, I'm going to review the Isle of Siptah DLC for Conan Exiles. Now, the Isle of Siptah DLC initially launched in early access on PC on September 15th of 2020. And between then and now, the Isle of Siptah has gone through a big change. There have been some major development changes from what it was originally released as to what it is today. Now, as of the making of this video, it has not been announced what the price will be for the DLC in full release, which happens on May 27th, 2021. Now, May 27th is when it'll be fully released on both console and PC. This is when Funcom will stamp it with their approval of it being done, at least in the grand scheme of things, of being developed. There are still some things in the Isle of Siptah that need some polishing. And I'll get into some of those things a little bit later on in the video. I do know that Funcom is very good about keeping up on these kinds of things, so eventually those polished changes will happen and they will sort out the issues that I've come across while exploring the Isle of Siptah. Now, I am going to try to keep this video spoiler free, but some things are going to give light to some of the endgame content and some of the content that you're going to run into in the game. There's no way that I can explain everything that you're getting without spoiling some of that stuff. However, if you are looking for guides for Isle of Siptah, I will be covering more things in depth in other videos, so I recommend that you click that subscribe button, click that bell, so you get notified when I upload another video. Now, early on when they launched the Isle of Siptah, I actually said that it was a Conan Exiles 2.0. I think I may have said that in a couple of videos and maybe a live stream as well. And I don't feel like that has changed at all. The game today plays much differently than it played a year ago or before the Isle of Siptah was released. Many changes that have happened mechanically to the game seem to favor the gameplay style of the Isle of Siptah. But the big thing that I want to cover in this video is whether it is worth it for you to buy the Isle of Siptah once the price is announced. So you're going to have to gauge that for yourself. I can't tell you what the price is because I don't know, but what I can tell you is that I've been playing on the Isle of Siptah again for a little over a week now. I've been really diving into it and I've been having a lot of fun. The changes that were made from the initial launch of the Isle of Siptah when it came out on early access to the way that it is now have drastically improved. In the newest version of the Isle of Siptah, there's a ton to do. So before all the changes came through, there wasn't necessarily that much to do. Yes, there was 14 vaults, there's still 14 vaults, and those have been revamped to be more difficult and more challenging. But they've added a lot more to the map itself. They've added a lot of NPC camps. Honestly, in the week that I've been playing it, I haven't even visited a quarter of the number of camps that are on the map. I haven't made it across the entire map yet in order to engage in all the new content. Additionally, they added more landmass, which is almost like playing its own minigame. That whole section of land is so much different than what the entire Isle of Siptah Island originally was. So the first thing that I'm going to really hardcore say about the Isle of Siptah is there's a lot of content packed into this DLC. And I'm honestly going to say it's probably as much or more content than what is on the Exiled Lands map. They have packed an absolute ton into the Isle of Siptah map. So you can expect to be involved in hours and hours of gameplay should you find these interactions as fun as playing on the Exiled Lands. Many of you are going to find some of the mechanics of the Isle of Siptah slightly annoying. The storm, dependent on how you handle the storm, can be a little bit annoying. It can also be a really fun interaction. So that's going to really come down to your gameplay style. If you feel like an event being on a regular schedule gets in the way of your style of playing the game, then the storm may not be something that's suited for you. But it is a mechanic that can be totally avoided should you want to do that, because on official servers, first of all, it only lasts for 15 minutes, and then it is centralized in the center of the map. So if you didn't enjoy the storm and that kind of mechanic, you could totally stay away from it. Additionally, if you have your own private server, you could just turn it off entirely. Now, something that's quite different in the Isle of Siptah versus the way things are in the Exiled Lands is you don't feel that same level of progression through dungeons and things like that. Most of the content that is on the Isle of Siptah is geared towards a level 60 character. It is geared towards characters or players that have been playing on the Exiled Lands that are then ready to transfer their character to the Isle of Siptah. Although on release of the Isle of Siptah, you will not have character transfers. This is something that Funcom, I think, really wanted to have implemented by the time that the Isle of Siptah came out, and it just didn't work out that way. So eventually they are planning to allow you to move your character between map to map and have transfers of some sort, but at this point in time, that's not included. And I think it's really smart that they kind of backloaded everything as level 60 content. They probably got some backlash and some feedback about why they were doing that, but I think it's really smart because if you look at how you play on the Exiled Lands, you are able to kind of do a lot of those things early on in game, and you never need to go back and revisit them. Whereas on the Isle of Siptah, it's a little bit different. There really is a lot of content that you're not able to handle well at lower levels or without really good equipment. So that being backloaded to the end of the game means that once you hit level 60, you're actually able to open up a lot of the content and play a lot more of the game. So they've left a lot for once you're all the way leveled up, and you'll have plenty to do and explore. Now, that's not to say that you can't do some of these things earlier on in game. It's just going to be extremely challenging early on in game, where it really is going to be much more manageable later on in game. And I think backloading it for endgame content to keep players that have reached level 60 engaged and having fun is a really good move on Funcom's part. Now, I want to go back to something that I mentioned earlier about the Isle of Siptah feeling like Conan Exiles 2.0. And the reason, again, why I say that is because they've jam-packed so much into it. You're going to find brand new armor sets. You're going to find brand new weapon sets. There is so much armor and weapons that have been added with the Isle of Siptah that it's almost like a whole new game. Like, they packed so much into this single DLC that it really is almost like picking up another game. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that you get a full set of DLC armors that you can use on either map. You get a full set of DLC weapons, again, that you can use on either map. And you get two different building sets. So you get the Flotsam building set, which is much like the Sandstone. It's an early game tier 1 building set. And then you also get the Stormglass building set, which is, in my opinion, the best building set in Conan Exiles. It's absolutely my favorite looking building set that they have so far. Additionally, with this DLC, you actually get Rhino Mounts. So you are, with the DLC, you are able to ride rhinos. If you don't have this DLC, you won't be able to ride rhinos. And you can do that in both the Exiled Lands and the Isle of Siptah. So that's something that is very cool. Additionally, I think with the Isle of Siptah, they add some really good mechanics that Conan Exiles players have been wanting, and I'll mention a couple here real quick. One of them is going to be the Convergence Trap. Now, the Convergence Trap allows you to play the game even more the style that you want to. So, for instance, the Convergence Trap allows you to enact a purge. So if you want a purge, you pay a certain amount of resources and you get a purge instantaneously. I actually did this twice today and it worked flawlessly, getting those purges to my base right then and there. The other thing that Convergence Trap can be used for is actually letting the purge pass you by. So if you want, you can pay to not get the purge. And something that I've always found really great about Conan Exiles as a sandbox game is the ability for players to play the game however they want, and this just adds to that ability. The other really cool mechanic is actually the summoning pool. So what you're able to do in this area is actually summon different bosses to fight. And you do this by finding little figurines or statues. I don't want to give everything away in this review video, but this is something that you can just decide, hey, I want to fight something big and dangerous and I want to fight this. And you can rally your friends all to one point in order to fight that specific creature. And this is a great way to get some of the amazing resources that are hard to find in the Isle of Siptah. Now, going back to some of the things that just aren't quite right about the Isle of Siptah DLC. Some of the areas have mesh issues, so there's mesh entirely missing, or there are NPCs that are spawning inside of the mesh, there's an invisible mesh, there's a lot of things going on with the mesh in a few of the areas. So this is something that you're going to have to watch out for. One of the big things and major concerns that I have about the release of the Isle of Siptah right now today is actually the rubble that is in the vaults. A lot of that rubble is very difficult to run over, and it becomes very challenging to engage in the content and not just get stopped dead in your tracks and wonder why you're playing the game. And I bring it up and say it that way because I literally went through this during a live stream that I was doing the other day, where I was playing the game and I was going through a vault. And it seemed like every step I took was like hitting a brick wall running into these small pieces of rubble, which I would either have to jump over or walk around. And I was having just a very difficult time engaging in the actual content and not being just overly frustrated by the fact that I was always feeling stuck on rubble. And that's the one big negative that I'm going to put in this review, is the rubble in the vault really needs a hard pass through to smooth that out or reduce the amount of rubble, because there's an absolute ton of it across all the different vaults. The other things that I mentioned are really not that big of a deal. They just need a quick pass to fix them up. They're not going to stop you dead in your tracks. If anything, you're going to notice it and giggle a little bit about how it looks and go on about your business. Now, I thought about putting in this video how much I would pay for the Isle of Siptah DLC, but I'm not going to do that at all. I'm not going to try to inflate the price or deflate the price at all. What I wanted to do was just tell you exactly what you're getting if you buy the Isle of Siptah DLC. I obviously already own it on PC. I've had it since early access, and I will be picking it up on the PlayStation products because I will have a server for PS4, and I offer 4 servers on PC. So if you want a place to play, go ahead and click the Discord link in the description of this video, and all the information on how to join the servers is over on Discord. If you happen to be looking to host your own server, I have a link in the description of this video over to G-Portal. That's going to give you a 5% discount on the purchase or the rental of your server, and it also benefits me, so please use that link. Now, what I want to know in the comment section below is, are you going to buy the Isle of Siptah DLC regardless of what the price is, or are you waiting to see the price in order to decide if you're going to make the purchase? The whack moments in this video were sponsored by my legendary supporters. Thank you very much. If you'd like to become a member, you can click the button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. I'd like to thank all my subscribers for their continued support, likes, comments, and general awesomeness. If you're not a subscriber, you can start your free trial today and cancel at any time. Clicking the bell is highly recommended so you get notified when I upload another video. Now, if you're not done watching, there's 2 videos on the screen. You could pick one of those to watch next. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'll catch you next time. Peace.